Hello my friends and welcome back to another video. Today is a reading vlog where I'm going to read 4 new releases. I believe 3 of them are horror and 1 is a thriller. And I don't know why I did this to myself. I have had the worst luck with new releases this year. I have had the worst luck with horror this year. And I thought to myself, what is the perfect video idea? Reading new releases. Why would I do that when all the new releases I read I've pretty much hated? I guess I want to torture myself in this vlog, but that's what we're doing. We're reading 4 new releases. I'm going to tell you my thoughts, what I think, how I'm feeling, if I think it's worth it, you know, giving you all an idea of if you should check it out, and just coming along on this journey of me trying some new releases and hoping, crossing my fingers, that they are hits and not misses, because I've been having too many misses. So yeah, the video is pretty self-explanatory. I'm not gonna ramble too long in this intro, but that's what the video is about. I hope you enjoy watching me read these books. Hopefully they turn out good, and that's all I can ask. So let's see what these new releases are like. Okay, so I'm here with an update. I'm about 36% into Where I End by Sophie White. This is an arc I got through NetGalley. I believe this book is actually already out, but the US release of this book is coming out in September of this year. I actually knew nothing about this book when I picked it out. I just have heard that it's kind of like weird and disturbing and dark, so that really intrigued me. It's also very short. I think it's only like 160 pages. I don't know, something like that. So I picked it and I thought it would be a fun one to try, but other than that I really don't know much about it. So all I can tell you is what I know as of 36% into this book. So our main character, she seems like an outcast, not only on the small island that she lives on in Ireland, but also within her family. I believe she lives with her grandmother and her mother, but her grandmother and her take care of her bedridden mother, and her dad like comes to visit kind of and like check in, give them money, like that kind of thing, but it doesn't really seem like he's really there living a part of the family. The town people, I don't know, there's something, I don't know, there's something weird with the town, and I can't tell if it's like the town itself or it's like has to do with the main character, because they really don't like her and I really don't know why. Obviously she's different, but I don't know how different. I don't know why she's considered different. Very up in the air about that. So I don't know the ins and outs of that. I'm very confused by the mother because she is bedridden, but we don't really know how she became bedridden. It's kind of like a hush-hush thing. Like they mention it, but then it's like shut down really quick, and like we have 0 details on that. So that's all I know so far. And then what's happened just now, just before I got to 36% in, is this new woman in town is an artist and she has a baby, and our main character has kind of interacted with her and she's treating her with kindness because I guess she has none of these preconceived notions that the townspeople do. So I don't know if there's going to be a friendship there, if there's going to be like, your guess is as good as mine, because I'm honestly not sure. It feels very weird. Like this is a very bizarre story so far. It's probably because I don't know what's going on. Like I literally have no clue what's happening. I'm so in the dark, which I do kind of like, so I'm not hating it. But other than that, it just feels very odd, very weird, very like kind of unsettling, just because you don't know what's really going on. So like the glimpses you're getting, it's not a full picture, so it just feels, I don't know, it just feels uncomfy, I guess, because you just don't know everything, so it feels weird, but I'm not having a bad time. The writing is very good. It feels very like lyrical in a sense. It's very flowy and kind of pretty, and I don't know, it has a nice flow to it, obviously. So I'm liking it. Again, it shouldn't take me too long to finish, so I'm hoping to finish here in a bit, and I'm hoping I get some kind of answers because I really don't know. I don't know what kind of story this is. I really have no idea where we're going, but I'm along for the ride. I'm invested. I want to know what's happening. I'm intrigued. I'm hoping I get some answers because I really want to know what everyone's deal is and what's the actual story here. So I guess I'll check in when I get some answers, and I have hopefully more fully formed thoughts to explain.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it...
Alright, I'm here with an update. So I finished Where I End by Sophie White early this morning, and honestly I really liked it. I think I'm between a 4 and a 4.5. I feel like I wish I had gotten like a little bit more from it. Maybe if it had been like a teeny tiny bit longer, I would have felt more satisfied. But otherwise, I really liked this story. It was very weird. It was disturbing. People said it was disturbing, and I was kind of reading it and I was like, I don't really see where. But after I made my first update, I was like, oh, the main character, like, it's one of those stories where when you're following her, it's hard because she's thinking and doing a lot of things that are really like messed up, but you kind of get why she's doing those things. Not necessarily that it's an excuse or like it's, you know, oh, it's okay that you're doing all this. It's not okay, but it kind of explains why she's doing it, and you can kind of understand her a lot better, which I thought was really interesting to see it kind of play out and see her escalation to some stuff. I don't know. There were some moments where I was really like almost grossed out, where I was like, what is this story? I did not expect it to go this way. It's so weird. But like, I don't know, I was just uneasy the whole time I read it, and it was just kind of like creepy and just like, I don't know, bizarre. There is a focal point of like motherhood in the story, but I liked the way the story went about talking about motherhood, just because it felt like it was taking kind of a different approach to certain things. It's hard to explain without giving away certain things, and I don't want to spoil anything, and I don't want to give too much information away, so I'm trying to like tiptoe around things and say things without saying things. I don't know, it's very hard. But basically what I'm trying to say is there's themes of motherhood, but I really appreciated the way it was done, and I liked it, and I thought it was very interesting. So I guess that's all I can say about it, honestly. But I actually really liked it. It was a very quick read. I liked the writing. I liked the story. I think I just wanted like maybe a teeny tiny bit more from it to like really complete it for me. But yeah, it was an enjoyable experience, and I had a lot of fun actually reading it. So I'm happy that it wasn't a disappointment, because like I've said, horror has been really disappointing for me lately, so I'm glad that this was not disappointing. But the next book I'm gonna read is The Astrology House by Karen Jade. This is a thriller. I don't know too much about it. This was sent to me by Atria Books, and I'm only 14 pages in. I just started it. From what I do know about it, it's this group of people go to this retreat, and it like combines astrology with like relaxation, and you can get your like your star sign read, your chart read, that kind of thing. And honestly, I was interested in it because I do like astrology. I am interested in astrology. I don't know a lot about it, but I am, you know, intrigued by my own signs and stuff like that. So I thought this would be fun. I have heard kind of mixed things about it. A lot of people have said it's kind of like a meh thriller, but I still wanted to give it a read myself and see what it's like. But I don't have much of an opinion yet. But there is a Pisces in the book, which I'm excited about because that is my sign. So I'm happy to see that a Pisces is involved. I'm excited to see if the Pisces is, you know, a good character. Probably not, but we'll see. I'm actually gonna start doing a puzzle here in a bit because we've had this puzzle on our table for like 3 months now because we haven't finished it, and it's really making me irritated that there's just an unfinished puzzle taking up so much space on our coffee table, and I want it done. So I have made the decision that it's going to get completed before bed tonight. Is that crazy? Will it happen? I don't know, but I'm gonna try my hardest because I'm over looking at this half-finished puzzle on my table. So that's what we're gonna be doing while we eat dinner and watch a movie. I will read and update you all, you know, sometime when I get somewhere into this book.
Wants me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see. Whoa, it's taking over, damn, no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough.
Hello! So I actually finished both the puzzle and the astrology house last night / this morning. I listened to the audiobook of this, which I know, everyone pick your jaws up from the floor. Aaron used audio, crazy, wild, spectacular, shocking. I know. I really am trying to test audio more and more, but I'm only trying to do it when I feel like there's a clear purpose for me. Like with this puzzle, I was able to listen to the book because my mind wasn't really doing anything else, because I was like mindlessly putting pieces together. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't really hard for me to think while doing a puzzle, which I guess kind of doesn't make sense because I think you are supposed to think while you're doing a puzzle. I don't know. Does that make sense? It was just kind of like me putting pieces together. I didn't have to think too hard, so my mind could stay on listening to the audiobook. I also like listening to audio when I'm in the shower. Like if I really want to finish a book and I feel like taking a shower is going to take me away from the book too long, I'll use an audiobook like that. But in my day-to-day life, I will always choose physically reading a book first, just because I think I grasp the story better. But in this case, it really worked. It helped me finish my puzzle and I finished the book. So I think all in all, it worked in my favor. I know this book is getting a lot of mixed reviews. I know a lot of people haven't really enjoyed it, but personally, I actually did like it. I do get everyone's criticisms of it being kind of boring and not a lot happening, because this plot is very typical. It's 8 friends, some are married, some are related, there's like a brother and sister, whatever. They go on this retreat to this astrology house, and you know, they're gonna have their astrological signs read, their compatibility charts read, whatever. They all have secrets, which is not a new concept with a thriller. I feel like that's a very typical plot. For me, I was really excited to see astrology used in a book because I am a big fan of it, so I thought it was cool, I thought it was different. I think I would have liked if the astrology had been more relevant to the plot. It really wasn't. The astrology was there, but I felt like it didn't have really any meaning for the overall story. It was just kind of like a fun little addition, which again was cute. I liked it. It was cool, but I don't think it played like this huge important role, which I was a little disappointed by. I will say, I thought the whole time I was reading it, this was a very predictable, obvious, typical, you know, thriller, and I was like, okay, yeah, I know what's going on, yeah. But there was a twist that did get me in the end. So I do have to give it props for that, because you know I love when a thriller can pull one over on me. That's just like something I really enjoy. I don't know, I have really mixed feelings about it. I think the very end is a lot of the action, a lot of the thrilling parts, and the 80% of the rest of the book is just like these characters being kind of annoying, and there are some characters that I hated a lot more than others. But again, I don't feel like that's very unique to a thriller. I feel like, especially a thriller like this, that's very typical. So did I think this was anything crazy, mind-blowing, special? No. Was it easy to read? Did it fill my time while I finished this puzzle? Did it seem enjoyable? Did I have a good time while listening to it? Yes, I did. I'm between like a 3.5 and a 4. I don't necessarily know if I think it deserves a 4. I don't know, it's so hard because sometimes a 4... Sometimes my ratings feel very off. I don't know. This is one of those times where I just don't feel like a number rating does it justice for me. Because I really did like this. I just don't think it's in 4 territory. So for me, it's like a 3.5, a 3.75 for some people. Like, that's where this falls for me. I get why a lot of people don't like it, but I didn't personally find it boring. That could be because of the audio. It is a full cast. It was enjoyable. Again, I was mindlessly doing this puzzle while I was listening to it, so I felt like it did its job. So I didn't really dislike it. I can see everyone's criticisms. My next read is another book that was sent to me. This was also from Atria, and this is The Rule of Three by Sam Ripley. I have no idea what this is about. I know it's a horror book, but I have zero idea what the plot is about, so I'm going into this one blind. But this is going to be my next read, so I will be starting that here in just a few minutes as soon as I get done chatting with you all. But this is my next read. I haven't seen anyone talking about it, so I'm really just not sure what to expect, but I will take you along for the journey and we'll see if it ends up being a good one.
It's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me. But let's be real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me. But let's be real, anxiety can...
Hey friends, it's time for an update. I am almost halfway through The Rule of Three. I'm on page like 135-ish. I'm on chapter 22, and this is just, I have the dust jacket right here, but I'm about almost halfway through, and I'm gonna be honest, I really want to DNF this book. I really am not enjoying it, and I hate DNFing books in vlogs because I just feel like it just doesn't help the vlog or make it go well. So I feel like DNFing is so annoying during a vlog, but I feel like it's even more annoying to just hear me rant about books that I don't like and watch me read books that I don't like and I'm not having a good time with. So I'm probably DNFing this, honestly. I'm not enjoying it. I didn't know what it was about. I think I said that earlier. I had no clue what like the plot was. It's very much talking about how bad things come in threes. Kind of like that, that thing that people always say, there's like 3 celebrity deaths. There's always like one and then a second and then the third, you know, that happen in a year. 3 big major celebrity deaths, that kind of thing. It's sort of like that, and so far I've gotten 2 different perspectives. There's a lot of suicide, a lot of self-harm, and a lot of drug use in this book. So if you're not into those things, this book has a lot of it, especially at the very beginning. It just kind of like full force throws it at you. It kind of reminds me of like a mix between The Ring and It Follows, because it's about a curse that kind of follows people while also using the Rule of Three thing. So it feels sort of like that. I think what's really getting me is it's very boring in a sense that there's really not a lot happening. It's just switching perspectives and I don't know, it's just not doing much. But I think the other thing is the writing. It kind of feels juvenile. It feels like this is more of a YA than it is an adult. It feels like it's targeting a younger audience than an adult audience, which isn't necessarily bad. I like YA. But my biggest thing is when a book says it's for adults and then it feels like it's not for adults, I get frustrated, because when I go into a YA knowing it's a YA, that's different than going into a book expecting an adult kind of story and it's very juvenile. It just feels like I've been bamboozled. I think people will like it. I've seen some people say that it does get better towards the end, like after the halfway point. Personally, for me, I'm just not willing to put in the work to get past halfway. Like, honestly, I'm not interested enough. I don't think that the storyline is exciting enough for me, and I'm just not drawn to it. I'm watching myself get distracted while I'm reading. I'm watching myself not really caring about anything. I find the characters very lackluster. I find the story so far just not intriguing enough. This year I did tell myself I was going to be better about DNFing, and I feel like I actually have. I feel like I've really been good about DNFing. I'm still waiting a long time to decide not to continue a book, but I am going to add this to my DNF pile. I just don't feel like it's for me. I don't think I'm the audience for it, and I've been reading too many bad books to continue with this one. So unfortunately for me, this didn't work. You might love it. You can hear my thoughts and go into it with an open mind and see for yourself, but it's not for me. Since that one was a bust, I think I'm gonna try Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. I've heard great things about this one. I've never read Chuck Tingle before. I don't actually know the plot of this either. I just heard that a lot of people were loving it and that it was a lot of fun. So I'm gonna go into this one blind as well, but hopefully I have a better time with this one and it's more enjoyable for me. So that is what I'm gonna start reading now, and fingers crossed I actually enjoy it.
It sucks when you finally feel like giving up. Oh God, no luck. Everything feels like you're sticky stuck. I'm lost, handcuffed to the bed where I sleep. Don't give a fuck, can't stop. Unplug, feeling overwhelmed. I think I've had enough. Gotta find a way to get some energy. Gotta find someone who's a good friend of me. I need purpose to make it.
So I'm happy to report that I am enjoying Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle way more than my previous read, and I'm about halfway. I'm like really close to being halfway. I'm on page 126 and it's very interesting. I just feel like I haven't fully figured out what this book is doing plot-wise. It's very interesting. In this story, we're following our main character, Misha, who has just been nominated for an Oscar, and he got information that the TV show he's working on, the people in charge want him to kill off the characters that are gay in his story. And he's very upset by this, obviously. But now the monsters from his horror movies are coming to life, but I'm not sure why. I don't know if there is a why. I don't know if there's like a bigger picture to this, or if it's just like that's what's happening and we're just going with it. I want to know like an answer. So I'm hoping that in the second half here that we're gonna uncover something about more like why this is all happening. I'm assuming it has something to do with the news that he got about killing off the gay characters in his TV show, but I just want to know more of like the why this is all occurring, like the how. You know, I feel like this is a very interesting concept. It's very fun. It's definitely more captivating than the last few reads that I had in this vlog. So I am enjoying that. I like the way it's written, but so far I'm just very intrigued. This is my first Chuck Tingle. I didn't read Camp Damascus, even though that was on my like want to buy list. I never ended up picking it up, but if I do end up really liking this one, I might check out Camp Damascus next because I did hear really good things about that one. So yeah, I mean, so far this is really interesting. I like the like flashbacks into Misha's life and like kind of seeing like why his love of like TV and movies got started and like why he knew he wanted to write and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just been very interesting to me. So I'm enjoying it. I like the Hollywood vibes. I like the, you know, Hollywood studio kind of thing happening. So far it's enjoyable. Again, I'm just more like focused on the why and the how, I think, right now. So hopefully those do get answered, because if they do get answered, I think this could be like a very high rated book for me, because it's been very enjoyable so far. So I'm very much looking forward to finishing it. I don't know, I feel like the second half is gonna ramp up. I really do. I feel like this part has been more like, not slow, but it's been like just establishing what's going on, and I feel like now that the baseline has been set, the characters kind of understand what's happening, you know, that kind of thing. I think since that's happened, I'm assuming now it's gonna get like more actiony, more interesting, even though this part has been very interesting anyways, but like I feel like it's all going to be amplified. So I am looking forward to this second half of this book. I'm very, very intrigued, and hopefully when I come back this gets a high rating from me, because that would be really cool, and I've heard great things about it. So I'm looking forward to finishing this one. I think it'll be fun. So fingers crossed that it turns out to be a good one to end this vlog on.
All worth it, I'm still searching and I'm still learning. I want a life that's filled with memories, not a life with regret in front of me. I need focus to keep me from hopeless psychosis if I keep moping. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature.
Alright, so I finished Bury Your Gaze, and I actually did really, really enjoy this book. I feel like it's a book that's got a lot to say, but it's very funny and it's having a good time. Like, this is just a fun horror novel. It's just a good time. It's kind of silly, but in a good way. Like, it's not too silly where you're like rolling your eyes, you know what I mean? But it's just genuinely fun and enjoyable to read, and I feel like that's what kept me wanting to read, is that it was just a good time. Like, I didn't feel bored. I didn't feel like I was waiting for something to happen constantly, because it just was such an enjoyable experience all around. It's definitely talking about queer stories in Hollywood and how a lot of it is centered on queer tragedy and not queer joy, and I think that's a big discussion, and I really liked that commentary. And this is a book that's doing commentary, but it's also just a good time. I feel like if you have a problem with like lit horror where you feel like it's kind of hitting you over the head, it's trying to be too deep and thoughtful, and you kind of are like, oh my god, I want a good balance of talking about important things but also an enjoyable book. I feel like this is a good place for people to start with if they want a book, you know, that's saying good things but also is actually a good plot, because this book does both very well. I think the only thing I didn't love about this book, and this is purely just my personal preference, this book does kind of go into the science fiction realm, and I think that's where it loses me, is because I'm just not a science fiction person. It's not something I enjoy. I have a hard time getting into it. Even science fiction horror, I've never really enjoyed. So it's not the book's fault that it went in this direction. It's just a me thing. It's not something that I enjoy. So when some things happened, I was kind of like, all right. I just think for me it wasn't what I anticipated it being, so it was a bit of a letdown. But I think it's pretty gory. I think there's really good kills in this book. Like I said, super fun to read. I really liked the flashback parts where we got to see Misha kind of growing up and his background a little bit more and why he created the monsters for some of the horror movies he did. I just thought that was really, really cool, and I was really like invested in the backstory part. So overall, I did have a good time with this one. It just kind of went in a direction that I wasn't like super pleased by, but I liked the ending and I was like satisfied, so I think I'm going to give this one 4 stars. And that, my friends, is the end of this video. We actually read 2 really good books. One book I actually did also enjoy, it just wasn't like anything special, and then there was one that I DNF'd. So it was kind of all over the place, but the majority I did like, which I think is a good thing, honestly. I think that's a good thing because I've been having such a hard time with horror lately that I feel like this kind of reinvigorated me a bit and got my hopes up a little bit and maybe made me not so scared to read it because I am afraid I'm gonna hate everything. So thank you for coming on this journey with me. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought in the comments. I would love to know what your opinions were. If you have any recommendations for videos, vlogs, books, also leave those in the comments down below. You know I love recommendations. If you enjoyed, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I also have a Patreon linked down in the description box. We can become friends, talk about books, horrifying books, thrilling books, romance books, manga, all that good fun stuff. And with that being said, I hope you are having a great day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!